right, so today is our Fit for the Fourth masterclass. I'm holding this because it is just enough time to lose 20 pounds of body fat in that 2-month time period and gain muscle without stepping on a cardio machine. We're going to go over a very, very detailed approach to this and then also a summary at the end. So before we get started, I would love to hear in the chat who's ready to learn how to do this. Let me know maybe some things that you're curious about, some things that we can address at the end for Q&A, and who's ready to learn to actually implement this. At the end of this, we'll have a summary again to help really make it concise and easy to understand. So you might be here if you're ready to permanently lose body fat without hours of monotonous cardio. Most people do not like treadmills. It is not necessary to step on a cardio machine, period, this entire program that I'm showing you right now, and I'm going to simplify that as well. You might be here also if you're trying to learn how to build muscle and cut body fat at the same time, because most people are told that you have to choose one or the other, and that's just not the case. You can do both at the same time, and I'll show you receipts for that as well. And you might also be here if you want to learn the most minimal friction way to do this to make it easier on you. A lot of programs overcomplicate things, so I'm going to teach you the details of why I have everything programmed the way I do for this, but I'm going to simplify it for you to make it very, very, very easy to understand. So if you don't already know me, my name is Sarah Bennett, and I've been in the fitness industry for over 23 years. I have a background in education in pre-med biomedical science, which includes hours of clinical and lab experience. And the reason I say this is because I'm a little different than the average fitness professional in that I do have an extensive background in a medical training. So a lot of trainers are young and experienced, and they don't have the knowledge base of this. So I go into very, very big details. And also I know the physiological pathways to help minimize your effort and maximize your results. I also own a government contracting business, so I work primarily with business owners. I don't only exclusively do, but I'm mostly about 90+% of the clientele that I have are actually business owners, because I am a business owner of a government contracting company as well. A lot of people ask me, why are you still in fitness? It's my passion. I love it. I think that it is, again, there's this chasm of fitness professionals that are undereducated, inexperienced, and medical professionals that don't have that fitness knowledge. So I'm here to bridge that gap. So again, now I mostly work with business leaders, and I'm a global fitness consultant. Obviously, I can connect people to people online. I do have an app and software that I use, which I'll show you some details on that too. Again, you don't have to use that, but there's a lot of different ways you can use technology and leverage it to your competitive advantage as you do in business. I'm a mom of two. I'm in my 40s, and I really believe that you can age gracefully and have longevity without having all these cosmetic things. I've never had any kind of cosmetic procedures done to my face or anything. Not that I'm against that, but you can do a lot with exercise and nutrition and sleep hygiene and all the steps of lifestyle medicine. So lessons that I've learned over the years, these are two pictures. One is actually on the left when I was in my early 20s after my first child. I didn't have the knowledge that I have now. I didn't have the experience as a very new trainer. And I was struggling getting back in shape after my first. It took me over a year, which I know for some people are like, that's nothing. But for me, that felt like a very long time on the right. And then I was mostly staying home again on the left and doing a little bit of training, but not much at all. And then on the right is me in my late 30s. Again, no tummy tucks or anything. I had 2 kids at that point. I was actually in my pre-med track, so doing extensive hours of studying and going on campus for these labs and clinicals. This was right around COVID. So I was also schooling my kids at home at the same time. I was running my fitness business and my government contracting business. So the reason I say this is you do not have to choose one or the other. On the left, I was less conditioned and I had less things on my plate. On the right, I had way more, but that didn't mean that I didn't need to be in my ideal shape. And I was older too. I was like twice as old in that picture. So just again, to give you some background, but also that you don't have to pick and choose one thing or the other. You can have and be it all if you understand systems and how to leverage things to your advantage. It doesn't have to be complicated. Again, on the right is experience and knowledge. On the left is inexperience and lack of knowledge. So fat loss is possible and gaining muscle at the same time, and we're gonna go exactly over that. I am into a whole health lifestyle medicine approach. Again, not just exercise, nutrition, but biomarker testing, sleep hygiene, social connections, all those things are very important to the whole picture in you being amazing and thriving in life and feeling your best and looking your best. And again, I'm here to champion the prevention over prescription to specifically support business leaders and even healthcare workers because they are overworked and supposed to support health, yet their health is compromised a lot of the times. If you are in the healthcare field, you understand that. So again, you're likely here if you've tried home systems like Peloton, that you maybe lost some weight, but you were losing muscle, you didn't have that physique that you're looking for. You've tried personal training methods, that you missed sessions, that you conflicted with schedule, it just wasn't working for whatever reason because that time commitment is just very difficult for a lot of people. And you might have not gotten progress because it was tough for you to be consistent due to the personal training structure of meeting one-on-one. And then you might have also tried supplements for weight loss that you were inconsistent with using or inconsistent with seeing progress with. It maybe helped your energy, but not the weight loss, maybe the weight loss, but not the muscle. There's a lot of dynamics of getting into your ideal shape that maybe touched on one of those aspects, but not the entire thing. And you want to learn strategies that help build muscle and get all the targets, right? To help you shed body fat and build muscle. I didn't include that here in this bullet to make it concise, but energy, again, sleeping better, having better moods throughout the day is the whole picture. And you want to understand how the body works to be able to sustain these results and not go backwards. And then also to learn nutrition strategies that adapt to your lifestyle and give you that sculpted physique without all this friction and all this effort. You can, again, make it very simplified and less friction. You're in the wrong place if you're looking for a generic weight loss challenge. This is not like a group generic overview. It can be customized. Again, I'm giving you the blueprint for it, but it customizes to you in a unique way. So it's not generic at all. You're in the wrong place if you're just interested in truly focusing on bettering your health. This Fit for the Fourth, losing 20 pounds by the 4th of July, gaining muscle without being on a cardio machine, is a very, very short timeline. So this is something that you need to be like laser focused on starting. I'm going to show you at the end. Sunday is the last day that you can possibly start this. So and then you're interested in, again, group challenges. Again, that's not a problem if you like boot camps and group events and you have that camaraderie. That has its own great support system, but this is, again, very individualized and targeted for a certain goal date. So we're going to cover two parts of this, and that's going to be the nutrient meter formula and integrative fitness intelligence. I'm going to tell you exactly what to eat, when to eat, and why it's important to shed body fat and gain muscle. And then we're going to go into the integrative fitness intelligence, which is how we leverage and use technology for sustainable results and a shorter period of time. Again, just as in business, in a lot of different aspects of work, really, you leverage technology. That is like your competitive advantage that you can really crank up to get your competition and beat it. And your competition is yourself right now, right? So we're going to use that strategy for fitness. So again, over the next few minutes, we're going to learn specifically cut body fat, 20 pounds by the 4th of July. And at the end, we're going to have a summary. I want you to either screenshot it. I will be sending this recording out afterwards, but if you want to get started ASAP, screenshot it and go for it at the end of this. It's going to be strategies that you can implement immediately. So I'm going to go over some examples of clients and what they've done, again, just to show you some unique stories and pictures of how this works. So Mario, he actually lost 30 pounds in 3 months, which is a longer timeline. We're doing it 20 pounds in 2 months, but that's still 10 pounds a month weight loss. It was body fat that he lost. It's not just weight because it's not just about the scale. And then he was able to put on 3 pounds of muscle at the same time. Something that was unique on top of this is that he had a background in being a Marine and also running, being in very great shape, but then he could barely run. It was very discouraging. He felt very tired, very depressed. His metabolism was horrible. He speaks openly about this, so I'm not sharing things that he doesn't want me to. He actually has a video on this specifically on my YouTube page if you want to check it out, and speaks in detail about how what a dark place he actually was in, and then the transformation. A lot of people say on the picture on the right, you can see that he's glowing. He has this charisma, and actually that charisma attracted his dream woman. So whole nother story, but it's radiates, right? Another client story, this is Carissa. She actually lost 80 pounds and she had that 10 pound a month weight loss. Again, it was body fat. You can clearly see in the picture, she put on a ton of muscle. She actually embraced this process so much. She also is a personal trainer now. She got her personal training certification soon after this, and she actually competes in weight training for powerlifting. So amazing story. Her husband took this picture. It actually was meant for the two of them. And then he shared it and she was like really embarrassed about it at first, but again, she's fine with it now because she got such great feedback from it. She is a mom. She has 4 kids. She's just in great shape now. So some of the things about my process that we're going to go over today. This is my entire system that I use with my clients. We're going to specifically focus on the nutrient meter formula and the integrative fitness intelligence today. So let's get right into it. So the nutrient meter formula is the first step. We're going to talk about what, why, and when. So what you're going to eat, why we're focusing on those things, and for the timing of it. So first is what, so we're going to focus on macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients, you want to have about a 50% protein, 30% fat, 20% carb breakdown for maximizing muscle gain and cutting body fat. And you want to time that more carbs in the morning and less at night. You want to have 20 to 30 grams of protein every 2 to 3 hours. Again, I'll give you a summary at the end. You can write this down and take notes if you want to, but, or even pause a time that this recording is at, but you want to, again, focus on 50, 30, 20 for macros, every 2 to 3 hours, 20, 30 grams of protein, and then also taper your carbs throughout the day. More carbs in the morning, less at night. This will help support muscle growth, body fat reduction. Micronutrients is based on biomarker testing. So let's go on the next slide to show you what that means exactly. So again, through my app, this is a detailed breakdown. This person's targets were a little bit different for this because she didn't want to gain as much muscle. She wanted to be a little softer with her final physique, but targets are really important to track. You should either be following a meal plan that already has those targets laid out or tracking like this so that whatever you're eating throughout the day, you know that you're reaching those targets. So she was excellent for protein. So I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think that she's going to reach her goals for gaining muscle and cutting body fat with these breakdowns right here? So you can see her calories for goal was 1,400. She was 93 calories over. For her protein, she was 1 gram over for 140 grams of protein. And that protein percentage that she's going for is around 40% protein. And then her carbs were 20 grams over and her fat was 4 grams over. So I will answer that for you. For her protein, if this was something that was repeated every day, she would be great to help sustain and build muscle if she's strength training, which she was, and doing that over time. This does help support muscle growth. Her calories, only 93 grams over is not that big of a deal. Ideally, it's right around that 1,400 target. But she still should see amazing results for cutting weight at the same time for body fat. And then the carbs were a little bit over, so she might slow down a little bit that body fat release. But again, this is a breakdown that she knows for sure. This way you know for sure whether you're actually going to be making the progress that you want or not. So a lot of people, they go to the gym, they try to eat healthy, and they're like, I hope I kind of sort of might get results. This is a very clear way of knowing for sure, am I going to see the progress that I want? And again, as a fitness professional, I can look at this and say, if this was your day every day, you would do a great job gaining muscle with your strength training routine, but you might not get the body fat loss that you're looking for on the timeline that you're looking for because your carbs are a little bit over, your calories are a little bit over. So micronutrient breakdown. This is, again, I'm partnered with a lab, Joy Women's Wellness, Blokes for Men's Health. You can look them up. They have amazing reviews. They've been reviewed by things like Forbes and other really high standing organizations. But if you get biomarker testing from whomever, it is best to know your micronutrient needs. You'll see a lot of fitness professionals, medical professionals say you should have a certain amount of magnesium every day, a certain amount of B vitamins is going to help with your energy. You should take a fish oil supplement, blah, 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 right? But how do you know your body uniquely needs that unless you get biomarker testing? So that's why I use Joy and Blokes for biomarker testing. This is a report, just a clip of the report. They have a multiple page report that a physician meets with my clients to discuss everything with. But this is just a clip of the breakdown of some of the individual nutrient deficiencies from this particular person. Again, I'm not going to disclose people's names unless they've okayed that, but micronutrients are really important to make sure that you're feeling your best. So you could have the most amazing exercise, most amazing sleep, most amazing foods throughout the day. But if you're micronutrients, if you're deficient in something, you're just not going to feel great. Your energy is not going to be great. Your mood's not going to be great. Your sleep might be disturbed. It's just something that's a lot more detailed that makes a world of difference in this process of reaching your goals. That's just going to make you feel better along the way. So again, macronutrients are important for the breakdowns I mentioned, micronutrients through biomarker testing to know what you uniquely need, because it's different than me and it's different from him and different from her. So why is this important? Again, we're going to focus on gaining muscle. That macronutrient breakdown is important for muscle support and body fat cutting. And we're going to also talk about how we do this to get progress without cardio machines, because I don't know about you, but I get bored. So for muscle growth and body fat storage reduction, this is a clip from one of my clients who actually started at 225, and this was December 16th of 2019. And you can see by March 7th, so it isn't even 3 months, 3 months later, that they got down 25 pounds. If you back up a little bit, you can see in a 2-month time period, they actually lost that 20 pounds in 2 months, which is exactly what we're going for. So their target goal was 200, which they reached ahead of time actually, but you can see for that body fat loss, that muscle growth, this body fat percentage here started at 33%, got all the way down, if we even go past it, to 21%. And the muscle went up at the same time. So if you're told that you cannot choose, you cannot do both, and you have to choose one or the other, you are being lied to. Because if you understand physiological pathways, then you can make this happen. So again, drastic weight loss did not compromise muscle, gained it, and was able to make sure that was body fat that that person was losing. So if you're wondering how did they do that, it's the macro breakdown, the nutrient timing, and the tapering the carbs that I mentioned. Again, we'll do this summary at the end. So for the progress without cardio machines, this is an example from one of my clients who does not like doing traditional workouts even. So you can see that they have a very demanding work schedule. This person actually owns a government contracting company as well, and they sometimes have to work and work out at the same time. So you can strategically plan your workout so that you're actually doing work and working out at the same time. So you can set timers for that, so that you do 5 minutes of focused work, you lift, you go back to 5 minutes focused work. You could do a lift for a minute and then you can do a quick break and go back to it. You can also be on a treadmill desk. So this person is a circuit in particular, but you don't have to choose one or the other if you're really busy with work. This is more of a time saving thing, but it's an example of how you can get your workout in at the same time. It's making it more fun. So cardio is defined as where your heart rate is over a prolonged period of time and what you're using for energy. You're using oxygen for energy. So you don't have to be on a cardio machine for that. So this 300 rep challenge that this person had was an example of, they did a circuit, and the objective was to get to 300 reps of everything. So it's just an objective based workout. It's a little bit more fun. It is cardio. You keep your heart rate high the whole time. And this person only had 30 minutes to reach this end. So we set this at a 30-minute window so that they could get that 30-minute in quickly and then go on to the next thing that they needed to for work. Again, this person owns a government contracting business, very busy. So we ended up doing the workout. We ended up doing the workouts, and then we also ended up doing the 300 rep challenge. So for the deck of cards workout, this is something that's, again, you can do cardio without having a cardio machine. You can actually make it more playful with games, with using cards. You can use a traditional deck of cards. You can use Uno deck. So this is just a few examples of how you can work out. Rep challenge. You can use cards for using games and make it more fun and not have to step on a cardio machine for this. This season is mostly gorgeous right now. If you're in the DC area, it's raining quite a bit, but you can actually go out and play. Pickleball is really popular right now. Tennis is amazing. Things that are very active. A lot of people are biking around the community that I live in. These are excellent ways of not stepping on a traditional cardio machine and getting your cardio in without it feeling like work. I'm going to tell you a target for what you should reach for your calorie output for the day, whether you're male or female, to make sure that you're going to be reaching these targets. However you go about doing it is really personalized to you and what you enjoy. So a nutrient meter formula, when, so we talked about what, why, now we're going to talk about when. So pre-workout, you want to be having something a little bit different than post-workout. So pre-workout, you're going to be having a complex carbohydrate, and then you want to have a more complex protein as well. Post-workout, you want to have a simple carbohydrate because when you work out, you burn through your glycogen stores, and you want to replenish those immediately afterwards to make sure you keep your energy up. Otherwise, you have a crash. You do want to taper your carbs throughout the day, more carbs in the morning versus less at night. And then you also want to be careful about the types of macros that you have. So the protein, fats, and carbs, you want to have more high quality proteins. So not all proteins are created equal. If you go to a grocery store, you might see things like Muscle Milk and some other popular brands. Those are okay. But I like to tell a story of when you're cooking chicken, for example, if you grill it and then you burn it, and that's 20 ounces of chicken versus you putting something in a slow cooker for the same amount of ounces of chicken, the protein quality, even though the ounces are the same, are going to be different. This one is not bioavailable. This one is. This one's burned and it doesn't get digested. This one is going to be processed through your body. So the types of protein you have are very important. High quality proteins. And fats, you can have different types of fat. We got the unsaturated, polyunsaturated, saturated, monounsaturated, and they all are absorbed differently into our systems. They do affect our cholesterol levels and things like that differently. So understanding what fats you need to have when you need to have it is important too. Again, for the 50-30-20, 30% of your day is going to be fats, 50% is going to be the proteins. And then carbs is 20%. And complex carbs are important, but you can have simple carbs. Rice is fine. It's demonized a lot. I'm not a believer in that. You can have things that are more simple carbs if you time it correctly. So again, post-workout, if you're trying to restore your glycogen levels, having white rice is totally fine as long as you're within that 20% macro range and you're tapering your carbs throughout the day, not needing to make that demonized. So we're going to talk about integrative fitness intelligence. Again, just as in business, you can in fitness leverage technology. It is something that's the easiest way of having a competitive advantage. So let's get into that. We're going to talk about automated tracking, data analytics, and the targets for these. So for the automated tracking, we're going to talk about calories in versus calories out. Again, at the end, I'm going to summarize all this to make it very simple and send the recording afterwards as well. And the nutrient percentage in grams are also important. So let's go for examples of that. So this is again from my app that I have. There's a lot of different apps and software out there that kind of show similar. So what we're aiming for a target for calorie burn for women is around 3,000 calories a day. And for men, it's going to be around 3,500 calories a day. It sounds like an audacious number, but it's really not difficult if, again, you integrate things like you can do a traditional workout, but you can also go out and play sports outside. You can walk the golf course. You can play tennis, like I mentioned. You can also have a treadmill desk. For a treadmill desk, for example, if you put it at 2.0 for 2 hours, you're going to burn about 500 calories. That's a lot. So it does add up. So calories in versus calories out. So for this person, if this was a girl, was aiming for 3,000 calories, she would be right at target for this. But she, if you go to here, might not reach her goals. So to get to the 4th of July, 20-pound loss, if she's eating 1,500 calories, so if say this is her calorie intake here, and her calorie output was 3,000, she would go right on track for that here up to this point But then about right here, if she was consistent with keeping that lower and say maybe her calorie intake was a little higher, not going to reach her goal. So using data analytics to help see that clearly, you can know for sure whether you're going to reach your target or not. You don't have to guess. So we're going to go over the percentages of the nutrients next. So again, for this person, if again, her goal was 1,500 calories a day, she's sometimes under that, sometimes over that for her calorie intake. And if she's doing that consistently and then 3,000 calories or more she's burning, she's going to be right on target. She's definitely going to reach her goal by the 4th of July. She might even reach it ahead of time if she goes over the 3,000 calories a day. But if we're talking about body fat percentage, so this is again weight loss only. If we're talking about body fat percentage, she might not get there because we're aiming for that 50% protein, which is in green, 30% fat, which is in blue, and then 20% carbs, which is in that orangey red color. Her protein's way too low. So she's gonna see that weight loss goal, but she's not gonna see the muscle definition goal that she's going for. So the weight loss will be there on a scale, but body fat percentage, her physique, putting on that muscle definition, she might not lose the body fat as well. She just might be more of a skinny fat, but a lower weight. So these macro distributions are important to track as well for percentages and grams. Again, this is from my app. There's a lot of different software systems that do similar to this. I'm going to give another example of a client who we worked together for a long, long time. Her goal before retirement was to reach a certain weight. I won't say exactly what, but her calorie output is the yellow and her calorie intake is the blue. So she was in a very, very consistent deficit here. Some days she forgot to log, which, you know, happens sometimes, but you can see she reached her goal at this point, right? She hit retirement and it inverted. So she, interesting story behind this is her exercise throughout the day did not change. Her calorie intake throughout the day did not change. So she was like, I'm postmenopausal. I don't know what's going on. I don't think it's my hormones, but something's not making sense because my exercise and my nutrition is exactly the same. What's different? And when we went on, pulled this up, you could see her overall calorie output throughout the day had minimized. So she was commuting to DC, walking to the train, walking around the office. Her total calorie what she was burning throughout the day went down drastically because she was at home enjoying retirement. So even though she was working out the same amount of days per week. So if you're not tracking and seeing these data points, you don't know. You might think, oh, I need to go to the doctor, get my thyroid checked. I need to, what's going on with my body right now? It's defying science when it's not. So she got right back on track because she did, in this time period, gain a little bit of weight once we targeted this. And then we got back on track, and then she was more in a maintenance zone here. So again, knowing and using technology is very, very important for progress in reaching these goals by the 4th. So another important thing is data analytics. So not only the automated tracking, but looking at the data and how you can analyze that. So another client example who I'm showing positive and negative, by the way. Positive, this person, he was actually doing a fantastic job and lost weight very quickly in the beginning. He got very stressed out with work and then started going backwards, started getting back on track. And again, this is a screenshot from a few months ago, but again, if we weren't tracking, we wouldn't know this for sure, but progress was being made, progress was not being made. So if you're not seeing a compliance and adherence thing, then it's not going to be clear as well whether you're going to be hitting your targets or not. So for the 4th of July, it's that 1,500 calorie deficit a day to get you there. So if you set that up on any kind of spreadsheet or any kind of software, you would want to make sure that you're hitting that 1,500 calorie deficit a day. If not, then you're not going to reach your goal. So make that very clear. For integrative fitness intelligence, the targets, again, we're aiming for 48 days. So this is starting tomorrow because we're already in today a little bit. So if you start day 1 tomorrow, 48 days until the 4th of July, and you're at that 1,500 calorie deficit a day, 3,500 calories is 1 pound of fat. That is the math to get you a little over 20 pounds of weight loss. So for women, it's usually 3,000 calorie burn, 1,500 calorie intake for food. For men, it's usually 3,500 calorie burn, 2,000 calorie intake. You can tweak that a little bit and play with those numbers, but that 1,500 for women and 2,000 for men is just a little bit more realistic. Otherwise, it feels like you're starving yourself. So for strength training, you want to make sure that you're going to work out at least 4 days a week for building muscle. It is important for this if you want to see that muscle gain. If you're just going for the weight loss, it doesn't matter as much. But if you want to see that muscle growth, then it's very, very important that you get at least 4 days of strength training in and lift heavy. You also want to make sure that you're not wasting your time in the gym, that you have the building blocks for the muscle. So protein breaks down into amino acids. Again, we're going to talk about things a little bit on a cellular level. Those amino acids are filtered through your body to restore the broken down muscle to rebuild them. So break down, rebuild. That's why the 4 days is important too, because if you do any less than that, you might just not see that muscle growth that you're looking for. Going back to the slides previous of this, when we showed the body fat going down and the muscle going up, that's exactly what that client was doing to get that. So for targets, this is again, from my app and my software, it's a dashboard essentially. Again, there's other softwares that you can replicate this with or even create your own. But this person is another one of my DC clients who commutes a lot. They do a office gym workout, and that was their target for the day. You need to make sure you set up daily targets. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of reaching in the dark. Not only for that 1,500 calorie deficit, but making sure that you're getting those workouts in. So this person, their steps, their sleep and everything is tracked. They were trying to like go for more quality of life things. That's great. Steps don't really matter in this 4th of July goal. Sleep does, so that you make sure that you're in a good mood. Chances are if you don't feel your best, you're not going to get your workout and you're not going to eat right. So biomarker testing and sleep is really important, not necessary, but it just is going to make this whole process so much more enjoyable. So let's go over the summary. So this is the screen. If you guys want to screenshot it, very, very important. I will be sending this out afterwards as a recording, but this is the breakdown of everything if we just had to like boil it down. So it's a 1,500 calorie deficit a day. For women, it is usually best for that to be a 3,000 calorie a day burn. And you can get that through, again, traditional exercise. For cardio aspects, to make sure you get that total calorie burn, it's going to be important to incorporate things like outings, sports, bike riding, tennis, pickleball. Those are really important right now. Hiking is another great one I haven't mentioned yet, but you don't have to step on a cardio machine. You do need to make sure you're doing that 4 day a week of strength training, heavy lifting strength training with the macros supported that is on the step 2 of this. But 1,500 calories a day for women, and for the nutrition intake for men, 3,500 calorie. You can reach that again through the things I mentioned for the workouts. But you generally burn more calories anyways throughout the day. So it's easier to get that 3,500 calorie a day burn. And then the 2,000 calorie intake usually feels a lot better. I have had guy clients who've done 1,800. That still is somewhat manageable if you are eating things that are high fiber, high protein, high satiety foods. But anything less than that, you're going to start feeling really not so great. You're going to feel neglected as far as the food intake, and it's going to affect your energy and everything. So for a nutrient meter, to review that, 50% protein, 30% fat, 20% carbs. I've been asked before, is that every meal? No, it is your total day. So throughout the day, when we look back on the former slides, when it had that like pie chart percentage breakdown, that's going to be the percentages of the entire day. So you do want to make sure you go for 20 grams of protein every 2 to 3 hours. The reason for that is that you have a slow drip of those amino acids, and that keeps you anabolic versus going catabolic. If you are in a deficit of protein for too long, your body does need to burn energy. It will probably pull it from your muscle even a little bit. And you don't want to have that happen when you're trying to get a lean tone physique by the 4th of July or whatever your goal dates even are after that. So the strength training, again, goes heavy as possible for 4 to 5 days a week, minimum of 4. And that way you support the muscle growth. So deficit for the weight loss, and the macronutrient breakdown and timing, and what you need to do for strength training to help support the muscle growth.